Hello, good morning, good day. Um, okay, so this is going to be YouTube challenge, Pagan challenge week 7, and it is how do you view sacred texts, mythologies, and I don't know how to answer that. I probably say that every week, but I can take it a couple of ways and, hey, how do I view it? Well, I don't really, because that makes me think you have to see it like print, and yeah, that's not going to work so well for me. Um, so, very much, well, maybe this actually does fit. And what I think of as what would be sacred texts, because so much of, at least, pagan histories were oral, so there wasn't a whole lot written down, not by pagans at least, but by others writing about pagans on what they believed, how pagans were. Oh, and I've learned I got to stop doing that because when I move my hands, it looks all flashy on the screen. So sorry, I keep trying. But okay. So, yeah, we don't really have a whole lot of sacred text. We have the stories, but not as much written down. So, I would think of like the Holy Bible, and that was written by man, by humans, not by deity. And that's always, that's one of the big problems with the Abrahamic traditions, is that they are following a book that historically is known. It has been written and rewritten over and over, and even 500 years ago it was rewritten quite a bit. Well, actually, and even since then, because then you have this version and that version, and yeah, that's not sacred. They're stories. Hey, go to Barnes and Noble and buy a book. Not that I'm trying to promote Barnes and Noble, of course. But yeah, the stories, the mythologies, and everything, they are sacred, and you have to understand them. I view them as being literal, exactly this is really what happened, or symbolic. I would say symbolic. And I probably am not the person to do this, but let's take Garadwin and Taliesin, for example. Do we really think that story literally happened, that he stood there at the fire stirring the cauldron for a year and a day, and then turned into a hare, and she turned into a hound, and literally, or are those symbols of the lessons that he was learning during that time, and the tests that she put him through, and that he had to go through all of that to have a rebirth as the new person, kind of like the born again pagan type of thing. I really think a lot of it is symbolic. Did that one dude really get wings made out of wax and try and fly to the sun? I don't think so. But I think that was symbology. And so if that's what the question is, then yeah, I guess that's my answer. So going back to the how do I view it, because when I laughed about that, I was going to say that no, I don't view things visually, and so it's like, yeah, I use my third eye, and so made me laugh because my business that you guys have not heard about yet or anything and everything is third eye only. And yeah, it is out there, so sorry, it's mine. But I don't use these two, I use this one. And that's how I look at the mythologies and everything too, because I am examining them not by my own human knowledge, but by what is given to me, the messages that I am receiving on, what I feel is right is what I am being told is right. And that's something that, when people say, oh, well, we don't know what druids were like, and we don't know what witches were like, and this and that, it's like, well, you know what? When you learn to meditate and you learn to have a connection and build that relationship, you do know what is right, because the goddess and the gods, and they're not going to just say, well, have fun, invent it yourself, and screw you, we're not really there for you. If you really believe and you're talking to them and building that relationship, they are going to help fill in the blanks, not by saying, do this, but by giving you the prods to know what to do. And I'm going off on a completely different tangent, and I am sorry, but how do I view the sacred texts and the mythologies? Generally, when it's written down in a book, it was written by a human, so I'm not sure how sacred it is. When it is the stories that are passed down, it is things that people have learned in the past that they are sharing with us, and that we are able to use as tools to learn from, but we need to put our own intent and draw from that what we are supposed to receive, because we're not all supposed to receive the exact same message, and we're not going to receive the exact same message. And I can easily go on another rant here, because that's one of the things I get very, very tired of. You're doing it wrong, or, well, you just read a book and made it easy, and you're not traditional, and so on and so forth. And it's like, you know what? We all have individual paths, and we need to respect each other. And even if you are not following any deity whatsoever, and you're only, I'm just going to pull this out, only working with crystals and feeling the energies of the earth and those crystals and what they do for you, that is part of your path and what you're learning, and that is perfectly fine and needs to be respected. And so I don't even know how I got onto that rant, and I'm so sorry I keep ranting at people, but it's just, we're a community that needs to come together, and I don't think we need to have a book to tell us how to do it. We have our past, and we know what's inside of us, and we should be able to do it. And yeah, I'm not there for the book, I don't care. And again, I'm not putting down those people that need a book. I know there's even Christian pagans, which I don't really understand, but hey, that's your path, that's fine, that's you. But I have a lot of friends that are extremely devout Christians. I have some really, really good friends that are Muslim, I'm Hindu, but I have friends of everything, right? And my Muslim friends they're cool. I love talking to them about spirituality and how it's really interesting. It was really fun. But the thing is, that's what's right for them. This is what's right for me. That's what's right for you. And if you need a book, go for it. I don't need a book. And if that's what that means about the sacred text. I'm not really sure. But for the mythologies and the stories, I do need those. And I don't need them explained to me verbatim. I love it when people do explain them. Like example, okay. Joey Morris, when she tells some of the stories, she explains what they mean to her. And she does it so eloquently, and I'm holding my hands together so I stop swinging them all around. But she does it so eloquently, and you get a really good understanding. Even if maybe you're going to not completely agree with her interpretation, that's okay. You know, you're getting her message. And I think that's really the point, is they are there, though, and we can all pull from them what we want or what we need at the moment. Okay, another funny thing. So I was talking with a friend on Monday, and we were hiding behind a building because we were waiting outside for someone to show up, and it was freezing. The wind was so dang cold. And so we're standing there and talking, and I'm like, well, why aren't you going home? And she's like, oh, I'm waiting. I got to go over to the depot and this and that. And it's like, oh, you have your Bible study tonight? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, so when are you going to learn that thing? You go study it a lot. I was just joking with her. And she's just laughing. She goes, well, the thing is that every time I read it, I find something new. It means something new, even if it's the same passage. And I was just like, oh, just like tarot. She didn't know what to say at that, but it is. Whether it's tarot, the Bible, scriptures, mythologies, all of it, you get what you need at the moment. And yeah, I'm going to end it there because you know what? That's my view on the sacred texts and the mythologies, and I can't wait to hear what yours are. Y'all's are is. Okay, so I opened with good morning, so now I will say good night. Blessed be, namaste, love and peace. Mwah.